Good evening, Canby. Welcome to the August 2nd, 2023 City Council meeting and work session. Tonight's work session, we will be possibly finishing up some conversation regarding the American Rescue Plan Act, or the ARPA funds and whatnot. So I'm going to turn it over to Eileen to get us rolling on it.
Great. Thank you, Council. Just a couple of comments just to get us going. As you know, we talked about, the last time we talked about ARPA was on July 5th. We had some discussions, made some preliminary designations or preferences, but we held off the second workshop until Jerry could be here. So Jerry is here tonight. I know there were several questions that you had for him, so he's here tonight. So Jerry, why don't you come up to the table. Maya, if you could go to the PowerPoint presentation. And just go ahead and go to the final slide, if you wouldn't mind. It pretty much has everything on it. Thank you. So the fund balance proposed, as you know, the total ARPA funds received was $3.982 million. We have already reported $34,681 worth of expenditures. That was for PPE and various items, mostly in the police department. We've committed $263,000. And so tonight we are allocating $3.685 million. Of that, what we're recommending is that of the general fund that you saw before, 1.19 million, of the public works projects, 2.216 million, the fire district request of 129,000, and the Canby Utility Board request of 220,000, and that takes our balance down to zero. However, Brian Crow with the Clackamas County, I was going to say Deschutes County, excuse me, different job. Clackamas County Fair and Event Center is here. There was some information that we put in your packet. If you want to give him the opportunity to speak, you can. If not, he's here to listen or perhaps answer questions as well. And so with that, we will just launch into really a discussion of, you might want to know what that 1.19 million and the 2.2 million are comprised of, and we can go through those lists if you would like. So.
Yeah, I know we got Jerry here. If it is okay by the council, I'd like to have Brian come up and try and talk about their ask and whatnot before we dive into it. So you can sit there. You're fine, Jerry. There's two chairs.
I got the share.
I got a picture.
Oh, visual aids.
Yeah.
Well, as mentioned, I'm Brian Crow, the Executive Director of the Clackamas County Fair and Event Center. I think all of you are aware of our construction project that we are embarking on. We initially thought that the project was going to be a $16.7 million project, but bids came back very well in our favor. So it's an $11.5 million project, not including contingencies. The building is being constructed in the same location as the old barn that was out there. We took it down in 2014 for being unsafe. And it's being designed in a multifaceted capacity. Obviously, as an event center, we're going to be hosting events, and we'll be doing things like flea markets and RV shows and occasional concerts and things like that that will directly impact the community financially. I know specifically when we have events outside of fair, I am told by Joan at the Wild Hare, Ken over at Backstop, Matt at Wayward, that they up staff for those days that we have events because so many people come downtown either to grab dinner before or hit the bar after an evening event. So The other thing that we're doing for this building is we recognize that a valuable resource for disaster planning is needed in this area. Building can be fully climate controlled. The state of Oregon is sending us 2 air scrubbers for it, so that if it's smoky in the area, we'll have those air scrubbers in there pulling the smoke out and keeping the air clean. In phase 3, we'll have dividable air walls, so if we do have an evacuation incident, we'll be able to house animals on one side and house people on the other. There'll be a full complement of restrooms and showers for the people. Estimated occupancy is about 2,900 people for this. So, you know, we've already been serving Clackamas and the county as a casualty collection point. We've served the county for fire evacuations. 2020 was a great example of that, where there wasn't an inch of space left on the fairgrounds. And I've already been in discussion with the school districts to be a reunification point. So if there's some disaster that happens at a school, we can move all the kids in and orderly return them to their parents. So that's happening at the county level. The reason I'm coming before you, I would really like to see the city partner with us on this to some degree. My initial ask is $1 million. We have $9.75 million in the bank toward this project, and it's a $11.5 million construction. So we're about $1.75 million away. I'm confident in my staff that we can fundraise and reach about $750,000 in donations and sponsorships and naming rights. But I really think because of the long-term impact and really the business and community forward operation of this facility, that the city should have some skin in the game. And I'm asking for $1 million. That would get us pretty far, but looking at your list, I know you've got some other prioritized projects. We would welcome any level of support that the city could offer us. You know, we're working with Jerry on doing some sewer relocation on the facility. We're working with planning to get our land use permits and all that stuff sorted out, and that's a long process. But we expect to break ground sometime this winter or early spring, have phase 1 completed. Phase 1 is just the roof structure and the pad by fair next summer. And then the following summer of 2025, we expect to have all the interior finish work and the building completed. So that's my ask, short and sweet. Maybe it wasn't so short, maybe not so sweet, but that is our request. And I do speak on behalf of the Fair Board as well. I've loved living here for the last 19 months that I've been here. It's a great community. We've made really great strides in bringing a variety of different events to the fair. You've seen True West Presents did Jason Isbell and the Indigo Girls. That was a success. Hairfest has moved to us on a mostly permanent basis. We've already booked them up for next year. And there's been some concern about traffic, and I'll say that if you were around the area during the Jason Isbell show, that was more people than our building can have at full capacity. So traffic impact will be nominal. So that's it. Any questions?
I have one. Brian, was the county able to provide any ARPA funds from them when did they got some?
So the funds we received $4.7 million from Bill Kennemer and Christine Drazen from the state, and the county put in $4.8 million from their ARPA funds.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Crowe?
That was a question I had.
Okay. Thank you for the ask and for coming in tonight, and we will definitely make that part of our conversation here this evening, so.
I had been talking with Scott Archer about it, timing and when's the best time to do this, and then, of course, Scott went elsewhere, and got Eileen Stein, and I hear great things about what Eileen's doing. She was actually our fair liaison from the county.
Oh, okay.
So Eileen and I know each other pretty well. So, and
Fingers everywhere, don't you?
hear great things about her from other departments, so.
Well, appreciate that feedback.
Thank you much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brian. Thanks, Brian. All right, Jerry, your turn.
So, let's see, do we want to start with the stuff that we removed to change? You guys all got to look at the report we put together for you on, basically, let's just go over, I guess, what we changed from the last time from the 5th meeting.
Okay.
Actually, let me start with telling you guys that where my original list came from. I kind of got called on a last minute deal, asked to put together like a wish list from Public Works for different projects. So I threw stuff out of our kind of stuff that wasn't really in our CIP and stuff like that, but little problem projects that I wanted to get done and presented to you. Stuff that we do have funding and we could fund for. And several of them were like the loop the water main at Public Works, the 34th lift station pressure line, the fuel station, all of those were stuff that we have that aren't funded out of the general fund. They're out of sewer, water, or sewer streets fund balances stuff that could pay for that right now. We have enough money to cover those. And so when Eileen came back to me and said, do you need these projects? Are these stuff that need to be done? They're projects that I want to do in the future, but absolutely projects that could be funded in the future out of that funding source. So by looking at this, if it was something that you guys wanted to do as far as getting the bridge done, that's a problem finding funding for that. And that's why I would support taking the ARPA funds towards that instead of these certain ones that we removed. We took several out of Public Works and then a little bit out of one of Jamie Stickles. What was you?
From the community,
The business.
Business
Yeah,
resiliency.
yeah.
and also from the library.
And from the library, the sorting thing for the library. So after we went through that with Jamie and Eileen, we went through that whole list, we removed all that, and we came up with that $1.9 million. That 1.867792 to be exact is what left us if we wanted to do the paint the bridge. And so in this presentation too, we also, I think Canby Utility, theirs might not have been listed, so we put that in there for those are two really good projects. And I don't know, I mean, if we wanted Jason or Carol to talk about those, they're here today. But looping a water line and then upgrading for some fire hydrants. But what we changed was community park. I believe the request is we wanted to take the overage of community parks, which was, we budgeted $425,000 out of urban renewal funds. We paid for the entire project, which was $760,805 out of urban renewal, and we're gonna reimburse at $342,805. The solar chargers, the 6,000, there might've been some question on that. That was something that was brought up from a previous council member, kind of went to the fire chief for, it's for charging cell phones in an emergency situation. And I gave Eileen a picture of it. If any of you want to see it, she could give you of what it looks like. And it's two of those that just bolt down. They're small, Public Works could move them around and bolt them down at different locations. They could be at a police station, a fire station. I mean, it could be down on 2nd Avenue in front of a downtown business if we wanted.
And those are we're talking this for emergency situations.
Yeah, they could use them all the time, but it just has USB ports in it,
Right.
and you could.
That's for the 6,000?
Yep, and that, at the time, that bought two of them. I don't know if it might be one now. I haven't looked into it lately, but, and then you'll see that left, all those changes that we made left us with roughly 1.9 million towards the bridge. So what I was talking to Eileen about today is all of these projects that are listed on here, the two projects, the big ones, Community Park Sewer, and the logging trail bridge painting are all projects that are started. So they would be easier to make the deadline of when we have to have these projects complete. And the community park sewer and stuff is almost done. We're just waiting on the bathrooms. They're going to be here in December, so that one's going to be easy to complete the time. Eileen, when do we have to have these projects complete? I don't remember.
We have to have the funds obligated by December of 2024 and spent by December of 2026.
Yeah, and so the logging trail bridge painting, we did an RFQ, selected an engineer, preliminary design has started, so it's ready to go if you guys so choose. So I think we all worked hard on this and I think made all the changes that you guys requested from the last meeting. Sorry, I was kind of bouncing around there. I hope I made sense with the stuff that we took off and the stuff we put on, so.
Another question that the council had last time was the funding for the C800 contribution, and I heard from the chief today that that's looking like it's probably going to have to come out of our ARPA funds rather than them finding another way to pay for that, so.
Chief's not here, and I know I've given Chief Tro an earful about this whole project and the debacle that it's become. I'm not real thrilled about that. I think it is an absolute colossal fail of a project for this, so. Okay. Any comments, questions for Jerry? We did, I think, Canby Utility, we've met those pieces, or we're talking about those add-ins on there. It looks like if we stay with this, we cover that. What's the appetite for entertaining something for Clackamas County Event Center? Councilor President Hensley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Brian, for the presentation. I do support some level of contribution because I do think that especially the emergency provisions that it could help us with as a community would benefit everyone. So I think it's worthy of some attention. However, 27+% of our ARPA funds as a request is probably a little more than I'm willing to bite off. But, and we did give a little over $200,000 to Canby Utility. So I think we should find a way to carve out a little bit at least for the event center project. Even if that means maybe having to come up with a couple $100,000 for the logging trail and just put 1.6 towards it would be my first idea. I'm actually surprised that we're cutting all those public works projects, but if Jerry says that's okay, then I suggest that we take a couple $100,000 out of the logging trail improvement line item and reallocate that to the event center.
Councilor Hensley, I want to add to that. Eileen and I went over what our workload is in the schedule, and I think she's going to share that with you. So this is kind of one of these things, these projects are going, so this does kind of help Public Works with their project management, the amount of workload we have going with Walnut, Ivy. I think our mayor wants Walnut built.
We all do.
Yeah. But yeah, so this does help me on that aspect of
Okay.
Public Works, so.
The other thing that I will add, Council, you may recall that the body cameras and the car cameras for the police department, the 207 and the 185 are already in this year's budget. So you would just be substituting that out and saving some general fund dollars. But those projects are already in the budget. So if you chose not to use ARPA dollars for those projects, that's 395 right there. So just a thought.
Councilor Patton.
So I was a little surprised when we got this updated thing because the last meeting we had talked about funding heavily these public works projects and that has shifted quite a bit. I understand why. I really would like to see those alleys done, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. I guess for me, I have quite a bit of consternation about these radios as well. It's gone up, it's gone down. I'm going to grudgingly pay out that money. If I could, I'd pull that money back right now, but we're gonna have to see what happens. One of the things that sticks out to me, I too would like to see the fairgrounds get some funding from this. And my thought was, we have talked a lot about the bathrooms at Community Park. And in here was originally $110,000 for that, and now we've upped it to $342,000. There's been an appetite from the council to pay for those out of both general fund money and possibly, I don't know if we still have a definitive that we cannot pay for some of that out of SDCs. I don't know if we've gotten a definitive on that.
We cannot.
You cannot, okay. Well, I still think that what I would like to see is, instead of taking money from the logging trail improvements, only take $110,000 as we have kind of originally listed here for those community park bathrooms, and then take that difference of $232,805 and put it towards helping the fairgrounds. And then I will also just make note so that it's all fair and above board. When we had talked about Canby Utility last time, they had said that of the 9 hydrants, only 8 of them needed to be replaced. And so we had originally talked about giving them, where was it? It was.
I think it was 10 and now it's 9.
Yeah, 210.
It was 9 and now it's 8.
Now it's 8?
Yeah, so it would
Kevin
be,
said- okay.
yeah, so we would just, so that would free up a little bit more to sort of kick.
210 instead of 220.
Yeah, instead of it being 90, it would be 80. So it'd be $210,000 for their projects. That, to me, I would like to see that sort of shake out that way, but, we'll see what the rest of the folks think.
So just to make sure I understand, Jason, what you're saying. So the car cameras, body cameras, since they're already in the budget, take it out.
No, he said the community park.
No, I know.
No, I would say, when we talked last time, we had talked about reimbursing ourselves, the city, some of the money that we have paid out for projects like the fuel station and such. By leaving the body cameras and stuff in there, we would be reimbursing ourselves at least something of the money that would be able to be spent for that. But rather than, so leave everything in here up above as is, but adjust the community park bathroom from 342,805 down to the 110, which was originally there. And then essentially you could add in the $10,000 from the one fire hydrant from Canby Utility, and that would bump the money shift up to $242,805 is what my appetite would be, so that we can, because eventually my guess is, does this, where is it? $1.86 million pay for all of the cost of the bridge, or just a large chunk of it?
I believe that we could get it painted and we could do a few little things maybe, depending on how pricing goes. I'll be able to get going. If I do get commitment to start on the bridge and I had 1.8, I could dive into the engineering deeper. And what I would hope to do is try to paint it and build the path.
Yeah.
The connectivity, because that's even called out in our Parks Master Plan of connecting the walking path to 99E, and maybe a little extra something, but I think it would get us there to do something to the bridge, at least paint it.
Yeah, and I would not be opposed to finding some other money, because obviously we're just moving money around under shells, right? I mean, that sounds horrible, but like we're saying we're doing to do 1.86 here, but if we want to do some other stuff, it come from the general fund. So you move the camera money into the bridge, you give the camera money to us, whatever, it's all going to have to get paid for. But that would at least, by fudging these numbers, we would be sticking to our guns of saying, look, we want to fund that bathroom back to urban renewal from like general fund money or whatever, and then allow some funding for the fair.
Counselor Patton, I believe it's paid for right now out of urban renewal, and we're going to reimburse it, I believe.
The what?
The community park bathroom is paid in full.
Well, yeah, that's another one of
Through
those.
URD.
We can move that money
And then we
around.
would reimburse, yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
Okay, Council President Hensley, you had something? Oh, sorry, hang on. Yes, Maya.
I was just going to mention, when you have a chance, Eric Kaitola would like to say something. He raised his hand, but I don't think it's showing on your screen.
It's not, we have the budget stuff. Oh, okay.
So-
Is Jim online, by the way?
No, Jim.
He said he was going to Zoom today.
Counselor Davis is not going to be here this evening.
Oh, okay. He told me he was going to Zoom, but
So
something changed, okay.
we'll do Council President Hensley, Counselor Bangs, and then we'll hit Eric. Thank you.
Well, actually, my initial question changed a little. It was more of a thought, because Counselor Patton did kind of remind me that we were reimbursing ourselves for cameras, which cameras in use for the emergency situation was kind of the whole point of the ARPA funds. So, because I was going to say, since we've already paid from the budget, take it out of the camera budget and put it into the event center. But honestly, the purpose of the ARPA funds was more for cameras than for a bridge. So I'll leave it where it's at, because I think I'm agreeing right now. We'll see if I change my mind. Thank you.
Counselor Bangs?
Thank you. I don't think that the purpose of the ARPA funds was cameras. I would recommend that we take the 200 out of the camera budget, which we've already budgeted, and not touch the logging road trail improvements. I didn't really ever understand the interest in reimbursing ourselves to the community park, and I'm fine with that stance too. But those, the community park and the logging trail, those are both improvements to our city, and the cameras are things we've already budgeted. So I would support taking 200 out of that car camera fund and donating it to the event center on par with the other two government agencies.
I do have a question about the
Mr. Kaitola?
Can you hear? Hello?
Eric, are you there? Can you hear me? No, I cannot hear you.
Does he need to call one of us?
Can anyone read that chat? Or read the chat?
Oh, yeah, there's a chat there, Maya. She's got control of that. Okey dokey. I didn't log into my Zoom like I usually do.
You want me to call him, or?
There's a chat from
call
him.
someone?
Should I call someone is what he's asking.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
Tell him Jerry's calling him.
He can probably hear us.
Jerry calling him. We have a second chat.
Hey Jerry, thanks for calling.
Oh, no problem, Eric. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so I need to try to explain this as clearly as possible so that everyone understands that ARPA money is already in the general fund balance.
Can you hear me, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay. I put the mic up to you.
Okay, I'm gonna mute my screen so that I'm not getting feedback. I need everyone to know that the ARPA money is already in the general fund balance. So moving it between items that have already been approved in the budget is not going to change the dollar amount that's in the budget at all. The only way that the dollar amounts that are in the general fund balance are going to change is if projects from this list are added as expenditures that were not already in the budget, and it's going to reduce the general fund balance. The ARPA money is like not sitting in a separate fund that's not represented in the budget. The ARPA funds are in the general fund balance.
Okay.
Great. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Okay.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
I'll just keep you on the line here. Is that okay? Or do you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Whatever works best.
Councilor Patton, did you have a follow-up comment, question?
No.
No.
I like the plan that I've laid out, and if in the end we end up needing to use some of the camera money that goes back into the pool to make the bridge better, then we'll do that on the other side,
Okay.
if you know what I mean. We'll have that fight for another day.
Okay.
So, okay. Any other thoughts? Sounds like we got some refiguring to do if we don't, correct? Based on this conversation again?
Well, if we're going to do it that way, we
If we- well, yeah.
would need to add another line item, wouldn't we? If we're going to,
Put your mic on, please.
sorry. If we're going to be moving things around, are we going to need to add another line item for the fairgrounds?
We would. Yeah, so we need to add that line and then whatever amount if we're talking about here. Councilor Maggs, do you have something else?
No, a similar question. So we really can't, we would actually legitimately be cutting the budget $200,000 if we were to give the fair $200,000.
Or Cub. Because Cub wasn't in the budget either, right?
No, it's on here.
No, the actual,
You would
budget
just
item.
need to cut, if you wanted to give the fairgrounds $200,000, you would need to figure out
Where the-
where from this list you're going to cut $200,000.
Okay, so let me reverse engineer that. How much is it? So I hear that the council wants to help out with the event center project. To what amount do we want to help out with?
I think that's
Is
the
200 or is
question.
it 250? Is it 500? Councilor Patton?
So to Eric's point, if you remember when we did the budget, there was a very large chunk of money in like the unallocated reserve of the general fund. That's where this pot of money is actually sitting.
Correct.
So even, we would not necessarily be cutting something that's currently in our budget for this coming fiscal year by funding these two projects. It's just going to draw down the reserve for projects and costs that aren't directly related to a city function or project. Is that
Yes.
correct, Eric? Oh, no, now we've lost him on the phone. Okay, great.
That's correct.
No, totally get that.
So then the fair request is independent of this ARPA discussion.
It is not independent, but it is new. The fair wasn't here on July 5th when the list was originally discussed, so their request did come in later. So,
Well, and I think to that point too, something, at least the way I'm understanding this is because this pot of money was designated as ARPA and the council is designated to figure out where it's going to go, by adding or subtracting or moving it around, we're able to sort of do that with this chunk of money. If we wanted to add in additional money, that would be a completely different subject because now we are touching something that was not designated for us to be able, this pot of money has now grown bigger than what the ARPA funds allowed for. So that's why I'm saying for the bathroom or other things like that, that needs to be a conversation on the council side, because now we're drawing money above and beyond what's in this pot that we can talk about for ARPA. This is the other way I understand this.
Would we then need to do a supplemental budget to dip into the ending fund balance in unbudgeted areas?
I can work with Eric on that, yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly if that needs to be done or not, but, yeah.
Yes, Maya.
Eric is putting more in the chat, so I just was going to read that off. So Jason is correct. I'm not sure if this is the right order. Jason is correct in what he just, only some of the items on the ARPA list are in the budget as an expenditure right now. I would need to review the list and budget to give a specific list, but I could do that tomorrow. Yes, we would need a supplemental budget.
Oh, we would.
So anything beyond the ARPA funds would be a supplemental budget piece?
Yeah.
Yes.
In that case, I would recommend that we hold this budget the way it was presented by staff and do a separate process at a subsequent meeting to donate money to the event center.
Well, why wouldn't we just not then reimburse ourselves on some of the other items, since they're already taken out of the budget?
I guess that would be the same.
Right. Seems like we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, if I'm correct.
This
So,
all seems so convoluted.
no, I mean, like, some of the stuff some of the items here, car cameras, body cameras, already have been budgeted out of our budget. We'd be paying that back. The community park overage, right, the 350 is paying ourselves back. And by us, meaning the Urban Renewal Agency, correct? Okay. So those are dollars that have already, it's a payback, so they're out. I would, well, you've got a point there. I mean, to me, since the community park stuff is already paid for, so is the body cameras and car cameras. If we take those out of these numbers, that puts more money to the bridge project, and it achieves the, doing something for the event center. Just throwing it out there. I mean, the car cameras and body cams is just added here. $392,000. Did I add those correctly?
Sounds right.
And then 350 from the community park overage.
Council, I want to remove suggest the removal of a couple of items, one being the solar charging stations, only because it's $6,000. I mean, that's a rounding error almost in the city's funds. And the $18,000 for the community assessment project, I appreciate you giving that to the library, but that is more of a materials and services contract rather than a capital outlay item. So I've been uncomfortable with us using ARPA dollars to fund those projects, or that project in particular. So I would like to offer those two projects up as well. So.
And we have another way to get the charging stations. I know it's a small amount of money, $6,000. Jerry?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we could get together with Eric and Eileen and figure out where to pull that from. Those were numbers I got when I was putting this together, I don't know how long ago, so those might not be real accurate either. It might end up just buying one. So we could talk about that more. But the charging station isn't the, We're really ahead from last time on the outage from the ice storm. As far as having generators, we're going to have one here pretty soon. We've got plug-ins outside at the police station. Public Works has got power now, generator power and stuff. So there are a lot more options right now than we had during the ice storm.
Well, and that goes back, I mean,
We have that EOC, the Rotary building with all the generators. I mean, that is huge. That we had none of that.
right. Well, and that goes back, I mean, to the whole, my piece with the purpose of the ARPA funds to reimburse us from COVID expenses as a city, whether that's, PPE, labor costs, shields that we had to, put up all over the place, and then using the remainder of that to take care of emergency items, like the fuel station, the generator pieces. It sounds like those are pieces that have been or will be taken care of. So then the rest of that, to me, is extra for us to address things that, that maybe are not items that are emergency pieces, but low-hanging fruit that maybe allow us to get them done sooner, alleviate some pressure out of the general fund, keep that saving for a rainy day. I mean, so, and that's where some of these fit for me. And I missed the taking out of the roads for the alleys. How is that going to be funded elsewhere in another way?
We're, hopefully, we get to put together a task force to work on street maintenance fee and figure out what we're going to do with that. Because it was brought to our attention earlier in the year, we started a committee and then it got kind of put on hold. If we could figure out, and it sounds like after talking to, Jason knows more about the street maintenance fee than anyone I know.
Sorry.
He kind of thought that maybe we could use that for alleys.
So,
And so
didn't know.
maybe,
I would prefer that it not be used for alleys.
but if we got
curb
some
to
more
curb.
money coming in,
I get that, right?
yeah.
There's no curbs in the alley.
But again, that's something that's still not in the works yet.
Nope.
And hey, I'm as hopeful as the next guy, but hope is a strategy. It is not a strategy make, and so, I mean, if it's one of those items that we can take care of, is that something that needs to be, I'm just, again, dialogue here. I don't want to be running in circles, but I just think that those are one of those low-hanging fruit items on that piece. So, I mean, again, I would rather, since some of those items are already budgeted for, being paid for, I get the reimbursement piece, but if that allows us to do some of these other things and then do something, a $250,000 to the event center, I think we get that achieved with taking out those items. My thoughts. Council President Hensley, I saw you. I just need to finish my thoughts.
Thank you. No, I would agree with that. I was concerned that the alley project was not on the list anymore. And I don't know that the street maintenance fee would be the appropriate funding for it. Reminding myself of the project in the first place, the street maintenance fee, curb to curb, no sidewalks, da-da-da-da-da. So I don't know that alleys would qualify for that. And so I would like to see those alleys done. I agree with Eileen that we could take out the library piece because that is a materials and services, not a capital outlay. I could go here, they're there on the 6,000 for the solar charging, whatever you guys decide is best. I'm fine at $6,000. But I would like to see the library line item taken out and the alleys put back in. And as far as the event center, I think we could just match what we give CUP.
Yes, Councilor Patton.
How much was the alleys again?
Roughly 60,000 an alley safe number, so depending on how many we want to do. There was a dozen that I looked at.
I thought the alleys were being paid for from the urban renewal district.
And that's what I
missed
wanted to bring
that.
up. I think we are getting confused here.
Yeah.
We've talked about them in both now, I think. It was an urban renewal.
We talked about paying for them through urban renewal.
I don't think we ever had it on ARPA, did we?
No.
On the list?
No,
I
we
think it
never
was.
did.
I might be getting my wires crossed.
I think we all
I
are.
got my hands.
There's a lot of.
Yeah.
I got my
Yeah.
hands mixed up.
But
Yeah.
we do want to do alleys.
Yeah, we were going to pay for alleys with urban
Thanks, Eileen.
renewal such that we weren't going to pay for the bridge project with urban renewal. And that's why I was trying to create a fund of, a funding source for the bridge so that you had the alleys paid for with urban renewal and that you had this other funding source for the bridge.
Okay.
That's what I get for paying attention to Counselor Patton tonight.
Thank you.
I need to make sure my button's on.
I thought I was going nuts.
So we
No,
were
you're fine.
testing you.
Now that you brought it up, Eileen, see, this is what it takes to keep us on track.
Okay.
Counselor Patton.
So I've been crunching the numbers here and listening to what people are saying. So this is kind of what I've heard. We got 10,000 coming from Cub because they didn't replace the one fire hydrant. There would be 393,347 for the cameras. There would be $18,000 for the library thing. Now, I know we talked about the charging stations, but I'm not ready to do that yet. So that would be $411,347,000 that we have now consolidated by cutting those different projects. I've been throwing out for people to chew on for a little bit, taking that $411,347, $250,000 to the fairgrounds for their project. We actually not cut the charging stations because I think those are a good idea, but they're probably more expensive. So instead, let's do $12,000 for charging stations. So we're for sure to get to and leverage more money towards that project. And then there would be $165,347 that we would then shift into the bridge.
So, I'm sorry, we started with 411,
We started with 411. We're doing 250,000 to the fairground.
right?
6 more.
This is my recommendation.
So this is
I'm not King Patted up here, but I'm saying if you
So,
did $250,000 to the fairgrounds, 12,000 or
6 more for the,
six
that's
more. Oh yeah, see, I
161.
messed that up.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I ran out of numbers.
Yeah. So it would be $6,000, an extra $6,000.
So now 12.
So that would bring it up to 12, and
So
then,
that leaves us just shy of 150,000.
yeah, I think so. Let me just double check that, because we got 10,000. 10,000 plus
Eric, is my phone messing up your
3,
sound?
3, 4, 7 plus 18.
What was that, Jerry?
Oh,
1,000.
nothing. Can you hear all
Oh,
right?
that'd be,
it would be
Okay.
155 for the bridge.
okay. Yeah, it'd be 4, 2, 1, 3, 4, 7 minus 200
I don't remember if we meant that or not.
minus 6,000 minus.
We have a
Well,
question.
no, I still have $165,347.
411 minus 250 minus 6 is 155.
Yeah, but we're not.
Well, no, it would
he was wanting
be-
to double that.
Well, the 6 is already in there,
6 is already in that.
so he's adding 6.
Yeah, so I've got 10,000 from Cub, and then you add the 393, 3
So you're removing those
Four,
because they're
7.
already.
While he's crunching numbers, can I ask
Plus-
Jerry a question?
18,000.
Yes, go ahead, Jerry.
That's,
Yeah, we were wondering,
oh, yeah.
maintenance on those charging stations?
Well, that's what I would like to see.
It's got,
The only reason why I wonder about that is because I've got 5 boys and I've never known once for a charging port to last for them.
it's,
So, and when
It's
you put a bunch more in there, they're going to get beat up and banged against.
what I read on them, they say they're pretty durable, but I think depending on where we put it, could cause some maintenance if we put it somewhere where it's going to get messed with or broken. I mean, people are hard on stuff. and
Charging
stuff.
ports.
Well,
Right.
you're going to have kids walking around trying to charge in their phones and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're not exactly light on them.
Like you look around Wake Park, we leave all them plug-ins hot around the outside and people use them, but they break the lids off.
Yeah.
And it's constant. It'll be more maintenance for sure.
The USB ports are fragile.
Yeah, there'd probably be some work on it. They probably, I don't know what the lifespan would be on it, but,
Okay.
You've convinced me. To heck with them.
okay. There's,
So do you want to restate?
Do I need to redo the math? Oh, no.
I just wanted to know if you wanted to restate it, so.
Yeah, so
I think I get what, at least the line items that you're proposing.
well, we can't really make a decision because we're in a work session,
No, I understand
right?
that, but you're proposing certain line items to be taken
Yes.
out.
So it would
And whatever
be-
the dollar amount that is.
Correct. So I would say remove the car cameras and the body cameras, $10,000 from Cub, $18,000 for the library thing, and the $6,000 for the solar charging stations, and then do $250,000 for the fairgrounds, and then the rest goes towards the bridge.
Okay.
Now you're saying take out the charging stations?
Yeah, isn't that what you guys just tried to convince me about?
Yeah.
No, we were just asking him a simple question.
I thought you were convincing me not to do them.
But
No,
now that we have,
So wait, though, there seems to be division on whether or not those come out or not.
honestly, I think with as small of amount that is, I don't think it's really going to matter.
I think you're right.
yeah,
There's no point in quibbling over the very smallest number.
yeah, so the six
We
can
can
stay in it.
fathom
I'm
$6
even
grand.
fine with six
Yeah.
more going in, so it'd be 155 to the bridge, 250 to the fair, and six more for charging.
Honestly, those are probably the easiest to obligate, so we would probably not spend that money until the very end.
Yeah.
So,
And hopefully they figure out them darn radios. We have that money too.
Well, yeah, because we don't actually have to obligate this for a whole nother year, but
Well, and
we're
so-
just being diligent and having the conversation
that's why I
now.
want to get the big stuff decided, because that's what's going to take the
Take the
longest
longest
lead
time to get
to
going, yeah.
design and everything, yeah.
So if that's the case for the radios for police and fire, can we designate that we're moving forward with the water line for the fire?
Hold on. I don't think the C800 contribution, the 93,000, that I don't think is in the city's budget. That's coming out of here, out of ARPA.
Yeah, I know, but
Is that correct?
I don't want to designate that yet. I want to hold on to that for a little longer to see what that number ends up being from the radios.
I would rather write that out of the check ledger and not talk. I mean, I would rather consider that 93,000 or whatever that money is later on. That's just, my opinion. So, Council President Hensley?
I have a question about that, how this designation works. So if we can't make a decision right now, but if in the near future here, we come up with a plan and this is how we're going to allocate these funds and it's allocated by our December 24th date, but we still have time, say between now and spring, something changes with the radios. Can we reallocate and still count as being designated by December 24? Or is it once we say it's said?
No, I think you have until December 31st of 2024 to figure out how you're going to allocate that.
So we can allocate it now and then change our mind a little later and tweak it if we need to with the radios.
Yeah.
So we can allocate to the radios now, Councilor Patton, but if everything irons out the way we want it to, we can switch it up spring or summer next year.
I suppose.
Okay.
I still don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I don't want to be hung up for
Yeah,
it,
I don't
so.
want to be stuck
Yeah.
on it and then have to
Exactly.
do a supplemental budget for,
Yeah, I think what's going to dictate the obligation of the funds is a contract.
Yeah.
So, we will bring you a contract for, for so much for the obligation. And so I think until there's an obligation like that, you're pretty flexible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I say leave it in the allocation for right now, because we don't know if we get stuck.
okay. So I've got us at 5 minutes before the council time, and just so that we all have time to take care of important business before the meeting, I want to say maybe come back in the September, one of our September meetings with, I guess, the updated conversation from tonight and see where we're at and then either stamp it or whatever. Does that work for everybody?
So I want to see action.
Jason, I hear you.
Want this done. I want this money invested in the community. We have been talking about the city council before this has been talking about it.
No, we did not.
Yes, because when I was
not
just a
like
plebe
this.
in like as a city person, there was proposals put out of where this goes. And so I want to see action taken.
And we did
Sooner
that
than
in
later.
terms of like the generators and those kinds of things. So that stuff's been done.
Action.
And those have been action items. So.
I think you are taking action by making these allocation decisions. I feel like you are.
Well, legally we can't, but
Well,
at least
not
in this
tonight.
session. But I want to see
Yeah.
this done. I want to see this invested in the community.
And judging from the workload that's currently on the plate of city staff, that's why I'm saying September for them to make these changes and bring them back to us.
I know. I'm just letting you know. I'm
Okay.
going to push this. I'm going to push.
Going to or are?
I have been, and I'm going to continue.
I just want to make sure. Pop your popcorn, folks. Jason's on a roll. Okay.
Stuck in a half hour's worth of traffic. I am ready to go.
All right. On that note, are we good with that direction for staff to get it retweaked and bring it back at one of the meetings in September?
I was just holding it so you could rip it off.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I will end the work session now, and so we're going to go take a small recess and then begin the city council meeting. Thank you.
Progress.
2.5.
Thank you. Welcome, Cammie, to the August 2nd, 2023 regular city council meeting. We are going to, if you please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. And just for tonight's invocation, please just a moment of silence for our men and women, first responders, and in service of our country. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on the agenda is opportunity for citizen input and community announcements. So this is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on non-agenda items, or like it says, make community announcements. If you are interested in addressing the council, please fill out one of these yellow cards and bring it to our city recorder, and she'll make sure that I get it. When you do come up, please clearly state your name, and then you have approximately 3 minutes to address the council. If you need more time than that, tonight I'll be flexible. So first and only card I have tonight is Carol Palmer, wants to address us on the Canby Historical Society.
Am I on?
You are on.
All right.
Good evening, Carol. How are you?
Good, good. Carol Palmer, Canby, Oregon. I'm here for two reasons. First of all, when I was here a couple of months ago, I mentioned that Mary Hanlon and Helen Development had applied for one of the DeMuro Awards, and she got it. So this is a big deal. There will be a big banquet in September. I know today Restore Oregon dropped the press packet for that, and so I talked with Tyler Dicer today, and he is going to do some things, I think, maybe with the weekly email that he puts out, and also Jamie was just telling me that they're going to be posting something on the city website and also on the Facebook page. So this is a big deal for downtown Canby. So, and I knew you'd all want a follow-up on that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
You bet. And then I wanted to just update you a little bit on a couple of things with the Depot Museum and the Canby Historical Society. You may know that through the Oregon Heritage Department, which is part of Parks and Recreation, State of Oregon, we got a $3,800 grant. And two things about that grant. First of all, we're going to be using that money for a project that I think is pretty important to the community. You may not know this, but there are about 50 oral histories that are recorded on CDs and DVDs at the Depot Museum. They're very nicely hidden away in a file cabinet. So one of the things we want to do is get those out of the file cabinets and make sure they're accessible. So we're using that grant funding for a couple of things. First of all, to buy some equipment so that when people come to the museum, if they want to view or listen to those oral histories, they can do so. And these are really an interesting group of oral histories. We have everyone from Elsie Cutsworth to Leona Sandnes to Vesta Mark, Doc Harms. So we've got a really nice collection of folks that have some history in the community and probably a lot to share with us and a lot to learn from. And we're also going to be using that funding to get some transcriptions done. I was surprised to find that we actually had about half of them are transcribed. I have no idea who did that, but that is a tedious, tedious task. And so right now I'm looking for a contractor that we can use, that we can hire with some of the money that we got to actually finish those transcriptions. So we'll have them for everyone, which would be great. One of the things I think is really important for you folks all to know is part of the reason we were successful in getting that grant is because we used the city enhancement grant, $500 of that, to as a match. And that kind of match is really important when it comes from the community itself. It really kind of gives us a leg up. That's a very, very competitive grant. They only give out about 10 a year to museums, so we were really lucky to get it, and I feel very good about that. But I wanted you all to know about that because as liaisons and also with all of your connections to nonprofits, you know, I love the fact that we can put up $500 and bring $3,800 in grant funding into the community. And so I think there's ways ways that other groups and nonprofits and certainly our city boards can be using that funding in that kind of way, which I think would be a real bonus for the community. In fact, one of the grant programs that is new, fairly new, it's about 5 years old, is one established in Gert Boyle Legacy. I knew I was going to get that one wrong. Gert Boyle Legacy Project. It's called Roundhouse Foundation, and their sole focus is rural Oregon communities. And lots of the communities around us have been using those funds. They do not have specific categories. They are for social, cultural, economic, recreational projects. So they've got a big, wide swath of things that they fund, and I'm seeing things in their grant history where they're funding libraries, library grants, parks grants, recreation programs, all sorts of things that we could be using as a community. And it would very much be something that we could use a city enhancement grant as a match for. So that's all I have.
Carol, thank you very much for the updates on those, and that's great news about the award for that. That's going to be pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
That is the only public comment card this evening, so appreciate that. Before moving forward, I just was remiss in just letting you know Councilor Davis is out this evening for prior engagement. And then I want to thank David Duthman for being here virtually in case we need to be kept in check on anything legal, which is a possibility with this group. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Before I take a motion for that, though, I want to address item 3C, the appointment of member Jake Hill to the Canby Utility Board. We are going to pull that out of the consent agenda. We did interviews for that opening, and Mr. Hill was involved. And so after some conversation, it was discovered that he has just moved into Canby and has not quite hit the 6-month mark in terms of his residency to be on the boards. So right now, and with conversation with him, we'll open it back up and we'll go from there, and he can be eligible for the board here in October. So am I leaving anything out, Councilor Patton, since you're the liaison?
No, that's correct. Yeah, we're going to take, I had this in my, well, I have it in my comments, but yeah, we're going to continue to take applications until the end of September. And then if there's any that come in, we'll interview them, and then we'll make an appointment the first part of October.
Thank you, sir.
Or recommend an appointment for the first part of October.
So please, if whomever, which I think will probably be Council President Hensley, who makes the motion here to approve the consent agenda, please make it so as amended.
Yep. Well, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as amended, including the minutes of the May 17th, 2023 special called City Council meeting, the minutes of the May 17th, 2023 City Council regular meeting, and the appointment of member James Simnett to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for a term ending June 30, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second or?
Oh, second?
Thank you. Motion made by Council President Hensley and seconded by Councilor Patton to approve the consent agenda, which include the minutes of the May 17th, 2023 special called City Council meeting, the approval of the May 17th, 2023 City Council regular minutes, appointment of member James Simnett to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for a term ending June 30th, 2026, as amended. Any further comments? Yes, sir.
So I have a bit of an ethical question. I wasn't here for May 17th, so I'm going to abstain for A and B and a yes for D. I'm not quite sure how to vote.
That's a very good question. Since Mr. Doofman, do you have an opinion?
Hi. Yeah, so if the motion, maybe it's a friendly amendment or we don't have to get, too technical with how to do it. But if it were, I guess, amended to allow for the counselor to vote on the portions that he was present for, and he can simply abstain from the meeting he wasn't, that would be just fine.
Then I move to pull D out and vote on that separately.
I'll accept that amendment.
Okay. So, motion has been amended to pull out D for a separate item. So all those in favor of approval of A and B of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you. So that carries 301.
And then, Mr. Mayor, I would move to appointment of member James Simnett to Parks and Rec Advisory Board for a term ending June 30th, 2026.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Bangs and seconded by Councilor Hensley to approve item D of the consent agenda, appointing James Simnett to the Park and Recreation Advisory Board for a term ending June 30th, 2026. All those in favor for that?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. See, David? I knew we'd use you eventually.
We're trainable.
There we go.
Earning my money.
Next on the agenda this evening, we're moving to our ordinances. First ordinance is ordinance number 1607, an ordinance authorizing the interim city administrator to execute a contract with Curran McLeod Incorporated in the amount of $159,000 for design and construction phase engineering services for improvements to Northeast 10th Avenue from North Locust Street to North Pine Street, first reading. Counselor Patton, question?
No.
Okay.
Can I make a motion or no?
Would you?
Would you like to?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm excited about making road money. I'm sorry. I'm excited about road money.
Terry.
Let's get the staff report first, and then I will come to you. Perfect.
I mean, you can go ahead and approve it if you
sorry,
want
it's too
to,
funny.
but
I'd like to hear more about it. I think
Okay.
the general public would as
Let's
well.
hear more about it.
And is that going to be Jerry tonight, Eileen?
that will be Jerry tonight, sir.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey, everyone.
Mr. Nalzine, thank you for being here this
I was
evening.
scared I wasn't going to get to talk about this.
Oh,
This is a
Jerry, I'm sorry.
project I'm really excited about and been working on for a long time.
So he
Yeah.
wants to talk about
There
it.
you go.
I do.
I'm
do.
put in my place.
It's one of our last few roads in Canby with gravel shoulders, no ADA, really hardly any ADA compliance. It's it even affects the school district with school busing because there's not good school bus stops on it. So this is something that we've been working on for a while. We've been working on this for probably 10, 15 years, trying to acquire the easements to build the road. We've tried to do it with CDBG funds, but we're unable to because we couldn't acquire all the easements. In the meantime, we've been working on that. So we've made big headway with new people moving in and other people moving out. We've secured a lot of them. So basically, it'll be kind of look like Maple Street in front of the splash pad. 6-foot sidewalks, 10-foot travel lanes, and new street lighting upgrades, new road, ADA improvements all the way. Connect, help with the fairgrounds, the events. I don't know, you guys ever drive 10th back there? It's scary during the fair events. So it's a big project. It's something that's in our CIP, and we're excited to get moving forward on it. Is there any questions?
No, not from me.
What is the timeframe for confirming whether or not we're going to get all the right-of-ways for the parking on both sides?
You know, we're working on that. As soon as this gets approved with engineering, we're going to go back working on it. We've shown a lot of interest with people that have moved in that want this, so they're going to cooperate with us. But what I've noticed, Councilor Bangs, in the past, when I did it on Maple, we did this on 4th Avenue also. There's usually 2 or 3 that don't want to do it, but once we start the project, they realize that we're just going to bump the sidewalk out and they're going to lose their parking out front. And they have a decision to make. If they have enough on-site parking, they don't worry about it. But if they do want street parking, they usually are more than willing to give up the right-of-way. So far, knock on wood, we've been able to achieve all of it on all of our projects that we've done here in Canby.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for staff? Mr. Patton, did you want to make a motion?
I would love to.
Thank you, Jerry.
I move to approve ordinance number 1607, authorizing the interim city administrator to execute a contract with Kurt McLeod Incorporated in the amount of $159,000 for design and construction phase engineering services for improvements on Northeast 10th Avenue from North Locust Street to North Pine Street, to a second reading on August 16th, 2023.
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Patton and seconded by Counselor Maldonado to approve ordinance number 1607, an ordinance authorizing the interim city administrator to execute a contract with Curran McLeod Incorporated in the amount of $159,000 for design and construction phase engineering services for improvements to Northeast 10th Avenue from North Locust Street to North Pine Street. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes 4-0.
Now, I'm super excited about this one. I can't wait for Jerry to share it before I make a motion.
So item B under ordinances is ordinance number 1608, an ordinance authorizing the interim city administrator to execute a contract with Curran McLeod Incorporated in the amount of $90,000 for design and reconstruction phase engineering services for realignment of North Pine Street at Northeast 4th Avenue. Jerry.
So this is another one that I've probably been working on longer than 10th. When we did the fairgrounds, we planned for this. When we upgraded in front of that, I forget what year that was. It was a long time ago. I know we were in the old council chambers. But this project here is, I wanted to mention also with 10th, these are two projects that Councilor Hensley's been working with the Traffic Safety Committee on for a while too, and came as a recommendation. So Pine became a priority here recently because of just all of the issues that have gone on with the stacking of cars with the stop sign, the alignments messed up. With all of the traffic coming, the tolling coming, we thought this might be a project to get started on. I don't want to get into great detail on it, on what we're doing there, just because it involves so many people's private property. But basically, this is a complicated project. This is one of our more complicated ones because it involves so many different people with private property realigning. I mean, big time with planning and stuff like that. So basically, if you approve this, what this is going to do is we put enough in there to carry the whole project through. But if it does get held up or something by a problem, this we'll know when it's engineering as soon as we get started with all the design on this. But we have been in contact with the property owners in there. Jamie Stickle's been working with the Train Depot people, and seems like after talking to Don Hardy today too, it seems like it might improve everything in there, but we haven't looked into it yet. So it's a great project. If you have any questions on what it is kind of look like, you could get in touch with Eileen. I really got her up to speed on that today. So any questions?
Well, I'm just really excited that we're actually getting to talk about this at a higher level of conversation now, because after having lived there for a while, I got to see firsthand daily how many people blow that stop sign and how dangerous that intersection is. I'm really excited about this project. So, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 1608, authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract with Curran McLeod Incorporated in the amount of $90,000 for design and construction phase engineering services for realignment of North Pine Street at Northeast 4th Avenue, to a second reading on August 16th, 2023.
Second.
Motion's been made by Council President Hensley and seconded by Councilor Maldonado to approve ordinance number 1608, authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract with Curran McLeod Incorporated in the amount of $90,000 for design and construction phase engineering services for realignment of North Pine Street at Northeast 4th Avenue, to a second reading on August 16th, 2023. Any further discussion or comment? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Old business, an update on the city administrator and city attorney recruitment. Eileen
Anything?
or Maya?
No.
No?
No.
Nothing to report? Okay.
I was just going to ask if you did have something to report. Did you want me to leave the room for a while? So,
Oh, I think the only thing that was recently sent out was a spreadsheet of potential dates and things like that. So if there's anything that's awry in that, please let Maya know ASAP, please. Yes, Councilor Patton.
I did have one question about the phasing that I wasn't able to talk about the last time we talked about this, so I wasn't sure if I could talk about that now.
You can, sir. It's noticed.
Okay, great. So what I'd like to see is us get an idea of where in that timeline we can so the way I had envisioned it was the search is going to happen for the city administrator, and then it's going to hit a tipping point where the work is now on us as council to deal with, and the recruiting firm could then post the city attorney position so that there's like a week or two of the announcement of who that city administrator candidate is going to be before the applications for city attorney close. So that, and then we roll right into that next. So we're not losing any time. So we're phase stacking those things.
I believe whenever we spoke about it last time, it was decided it was going to be somewhere about midway that was going to start taking place.
Yes, yeah, but we hadn't really figured where, like, we hadn't really defined what that timeline would be. And I would like to see more of a definitive of this is where we would kind of start that, so we can kind of watch all that Gantt charting do its thing. But yeah, I just want to make sure there was a comment made originally when we were talking about this that sometimes, who the city manager is will determine whether people are or will or are not interested in that position. And so I think it would be best if we at least leave a little bit of an overlap there. So the announcement of who the person is made before the city attorney stuff closes, if that makes sense.
Duly noted. Thank you, sir.
Okay, that was all I had.
Nope. Good. Next on the agenda is mayor's business, just a couple of items and announcements. So Clackamas County Coordinating Committee is tomorrow evening, so I'll have something at the next meeting. The Region 1 Area Commission on Transportation is also later this month, so I'll report on that afterwards. Canby Area Transit had a meeting last week. I was not unfortunately able to make that meeting, but I will follow up with CAT Director Todd Woods and for an update and report back at the next meeting. I want to thank Canby PD and the city for the Chill and Grill event last night.
Yes.
Days are running together, but it was a fabulous event. They did another great job. A ton of people. Is it Captain Gonzalez? Looked really good in his pipe chef hat. But yeah, there's our code enforcement officer, I guess she's now our
Evidence tech.
Innes was in the dunk tank when I got there, and when I left, it was Chief Tro. So yeah, it looked like it was a lot of fun to be there. So I appreciate them putting that on. This Friday, Canby Football has their big kickoff event at Canby High School. So that'll be from 5 to 7:30. So come out and see some early youth football. Let's see, we are accepting applications still for the open city council seat, which I believe closes this Friday. So if you're interested in interviewing and filling the open seat, is it next Friday? Sorry, next Friday. Thank you. We have a whole nother week and a half. Perfect. Maya, have we had any applicants at all so far?
I didn't check today, so apologies on that, but I checked a couple days ago and we have not.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So still an opportunity. Join this fun, wild, crazy bunch. Coming up, we've got Fair Week is coming up. So City of Canby, brace yourself for Fair Week. And then at the end of August, mark your calendars, it's Canby's big weekend. Friday night, the 25th, is the street dance. Saturday, the 26th, is the car show and Dahlia Festival. And then on Sunday, the 27th, is the continuation of the Dahlia Festival. And I think there's Saturday market will be open both Saturday and Sunday for the big weekend. So lots of things coming up. And I think that's all that I had for this evening. We'll start with councilor comments and liaison reports, and we'll start with Mr. Patton.
Well, I've already talked about Cub, so I won't reiterate that. Haven't had any meetings of my boards. They'll be phasing this week or next week. But I did tag along with Canby Utility Board to tour the Wilsonville Water Treatment Plant, and let me tell you something. I'm going to make sure you all get loaded up on a bus and take it over to the Wilsonville Water Treatment Plant because it is amazing. What I found fascinating, so they took us through the whole process. Some of the things that stuck out to me was the state-of-the-art nature of that facility. It was built several years ago, but the technology that is going into new water treatment plants today is the same technology that they are using there now. It's just smaller. And they have built that facility to have 2 or 3 separate expansions over the life expectancy of that facility. It is absolutely incredible. Another thing that stuck out was they incorporated a park around the water treatment facility. So there's actually a nice river water feature with it. There's viewing portals into different parts of the water treatment plant, so you can actually see into the operation and get information about how it works and what's going on in there. So I thought that was really cool. And then they took us through the whole process all the way to how they clean the screens off of the intakes in the Willamette River. So they're deep in the river. There are these massive screens that are the water intake pipes for it, and they blow a ton of air backwards through the system to blow the dirt off the pipes. And so there's buoys in the river to show where that happens, because if there was a boat there, they have to have somebody down there when they do it, because if there was a boat there, it would sink them. And it was really cool when they let the air go. So that was pretty fun. I did get a chance to attend the arts event in the park a couple weekends ago. It was very well attended, and there was a really nice mix of artists that set up stalls there, so that was a lot of fun. Last weekend I went to the Bridging Cultures event, painted a feather for an installation that will be at the library, and said hello to folks and connected with some of the director and stuff for that group. And then I also attended the National Night Out over at the police facility. It was a lot of fun. I felt like I needed to be volunteering to do something, so I'm going to make sure to reach out to Chief Tro next year to get on the list if they need help with anything, except for the dunk tank. I do not look good in a bathing suit. And one thing I did want to see that we could maybe look at is, and this is something I experienced last year and especially this year, it is just hot and sunny over there. If it's possible that we could include some funding in the future for cover, like a tent or something for the tables for people to sit under for next year, I think that would be a good investment for the community event to have shade for those folks. So that's what I had.
I did talk to Chief Tro about that, and he thought that perhaps next year they would scoot the start time back a half an hour or two, so it would start at 5:30, which will make it a little cooler as well. But that's a great idea on the camping, yeah. And
that's all I got for today.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Patton. Councilor Maldonado.
My board meetings won't be continuing until next week. However, I did get the opportunity to attend the ribbon cutting for biscuits on the 27th with Council President Hensley. Absolutely fabulous event. It was really nice. Davis was there too. Absolutely. They did a heck of a job, laid out a nice little spread for us. So congratulations to them for that. I was also able to attend the Music in the Park on Sunday with Slicker. Again, another amazing event held. Great turnout with some great music.
Great. Thank you, sir. Council President Hensley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I likewise got to attend those events. Ribbon cutting, the reason why the ribbon cutting for Biscuits is because they have new ownership and they did some remodeling and kind of reconstructed their business model a little bit back to a family dining situation. So that was kind of nice to hear their story. And yes, kudos, thank you to those folks who organize and volunteer and put on the Slice of Summer event, because that is a wonderful community event and a benefit to everybody who comes and has some fellowship and listens to music. So that takes a lot of effort and time to put together. So I thank those folks who could do that. And I don't have any liaison, as being it's only the second of the month. I have no liaison reports until later in the month. But I'm thinking that maybe Councilor Patton and the rest of us could volunteer to be in that dunk tank to, help fund something. And would that be fun to have a fundraiser?
I agree with him. I don't look good in a bathing suit. No,
Oh,
thank
you know what? Neither do I. But you know what? I think
We'll just get you a snorkel.
we were
and some
all
water
grilling,
lines.
but I think the only ones chilling were the
Give me
ones in
some
the water.
floaties. Put some floaties on these arms and I'll call it a deal.
Okay, well, let's talk
All
about
right.
that. That could be a fun thing.
If there ends up being a majority of council that chooses to go with the dunk tank, then by process of elimination, I will be forced to.
Okay, let's talk about this.
That is, I'm throwing the gauntlet there. If a majority of council chooses to dunk, I
Okay.
shall dunk as well.
All right, I'll talk to Trev.
Wrong to singlet.
They were the only ones chilling, the ones that are getting dunked in that water. It was hot, but yeah, it was a great event. So thank you for all those people who do that too. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Counselor Banks?
The Library Advisory Board met in July. I missed that. For some reason, I missed this meeting as well. The Heritage and Landmarks Commission allegedly has a meeting possibly coming up this month, or possibly not. So just to date, I've been liaison since January with them and met once with them. And I have not missed any of them. So that one's been a little bit of a slow gig.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone. Business and staff reports. Ms. Stein.
Thank you, Council. So the first thing that I would like to do is introduce Kevin Aguilar. Kevin, if you could come up to the front. Kevin is our new HR director. He began with us Monday. Gosh, yeah, feels like. And he comes to us from Clackamas Community College, and I'll let him talk a little bit about his background and experience, but we've had some great conversations so far, and I think he's going to be an excellent addition to our staff. I can really tell that he's blending in quite well with the staff already, so I'm very pleased to have him. So Kevin, if you wouldn't mind just saying a couple of words about your experience.
It's actually already on. Cool, appreciate it. Thanks for welcoming me and having me here tonight. So yeah, most recent I was at Clackamas Community College there for a little bit over almost 3.5 years as an HR business partner. And prior to that, I'm at Community College in HR as well. So made a really good track record with higher education, and a lot of my mentors and previous HR directors transitioned into city governments. So Chief HR Officer at Monoma County was my previous HR director. HR manager at City of McMinnville was also one of my previous managers. So they kind of are the ones who put that plug in and said, hey, as you're growing your career, take a look at city government. So that's kind of what led me to pursue that route there. But it's been a fast-paced 3 days. I have no doubt that it's going to be a great match there, and there's a lot of work, and I appreciate and welcome the challenge.
Well, we're excited to have you, Kevin, and really do appreciate you coming on board. I know you're kind of hitting the ground running and jumping into the deep end of the pool with several recruitment pieces that are going on, but really do appreciate and are excited to have you. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations and welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. I just almost didn't recognize you in a suit, because I think the first time I met you was
It was very casual.
very casual. Yes.
Yeah, we met last night. He came to the
Great.
grill and show.
The rest of the items I have are just a reminder of various emails that I've sent to the council. So there was, a graffiti incident earlier this week also. So that Jerry says that was painted over. And the community park fencing, that was taken care of, and there is fencing there as well. So, and then there were various follow-ups that were given to the Public Works Department. So the fence is repaired at the community park. We added no trespassing signs. The HVAC system is repaired at the adult center, and the 3 requests that came from the Traffic Safety Commission are being worked on as well now. And we are going to be meeting on Friday to discuss the COGEO presentation and the what's going to happen next on that project. It's going to be very complicated to have that facility at the Molalla State Park. So we will explore those alternatives, but I think we're going to explore other alternatives as well. So I don't know if you're hearing from constituents. I started hearing some concerns about that project pretty much right after we had the presentation, so including by the state as well. So we will just keep working on that. It's not a matter of not doing a recreational sports complex. It's a matter of finding the right site for it. So let's see. And then I think at that transit advisory committee meeting that the shopper shuttle service was discontinued by the Transit Advisory Committee on the recommendation of staff, just based on usage. So anyway, if you had any questions, I think I forwarded that to you too. If you have any questions, please follow up with Todd. So.
Yes, Council President.
That's just the shopper shuttle, the Canby Loop is still going? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. Second opportunity for citizen input, if anyone would like to address the council. Seeing no takers. Maya, action review.
You have approved the consent agenda as amended and approved ordinance numbers 1607 and 1608 to second readings on August 16th, 2023.
Great, thank you. I will take a motion to adjourn if there's no other business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Mr. Doofman, thank you, sir, for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
My pleasure.
David.
Have a good night.
Good night, Canby. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.